All right, welcome back to the Red and Blue Fight Pick Show. This is episode 3. I am your host, Blue Bart, alongside my co-host, Red Ray. Today, we're going to be giving out and breaking down the fights for UFC 314, Volkanovski versus Lopes for the featherweight title. But first, we're going to recap last week, ESPN Vegas 105, Emmett versus Murphy. Just to go through this quickly, the first fight was Vanessa Demopoulos against Talita Alencar. This was a blue versus red, and a successful blue victory here as Alencar successfully found the takedowns. I was pretty shocked. I mean, I thought that Demopoulos would improve as the fight went on, but she looked bad. She could not defend the takedown at all. She got destroyed. Ray, any thoughts?
Yeah, she looked brutal. I mean, I don't know what the game plan there was, what kind of training. I mean, I think it's my fault that I trust these people to do some actual training during their camp and maybe going against a girl that can only do jiu-jitsu that I would assume she'd learn one, like get up from the ground or any takedown defense, but she didn't, so that's on me.
Yep. The next fight actually ended up being Martin Budai on a 2 days notice against Uran Saltabiev, who's normally a light heavyweight. He took the fight on 2 days notice, stepped up against Budai. I actually thought he looked pretty good. He did end up losing by decision. Budai made us sweat that a little bit. Red Ray and I ended up betting on Budai money line once the fight got switched. But we stand by that Kennedy African Savage would have absolutely destroyed him had that fight gone through. Moving up, Victor Henry, Red Ray was on him. I was on Pedro Falco. It was a somewhat competitive fight. Henry, I mean, he definitely won. I think Pedro kind of faded as the fight went on. So we went 1-1 on blue versus red picks. Moving up the card, we gave out Loma inside the distance. Unfortunately, Estela Nunes didn't gas like we expected her to. She looked improved in that regard. And Loma just continues to be a decision machine. That's on us. Next fight, we were high on Reese McKee, who looked awesome. That was a great fight. He got the win by TKO with doctor stoppage due to a massive cut open lip on Frunza. Next fight, Diana Belbita got absolutely dominated by Dione Barbosa. We did give out Barbosa inside the distance. That was a 2.5 unit play. That was so easy. I was also on her submission at -115. Ray's favorite fighter, Torres Finney, got the win. We were high on his money line, but we also had his KO. But he must not have known you have to throw punches to win by KO. And Ray, any thoughts on your favorite fighter?
I'm just glad I saw the community is now on my side on this, so I'm just glad I was leading the charge on the Torres Phineas awful fighter. So I'm glad everyone else is now with me on this.
The next fight was tough for us. We were on Luis Gurul, and he won the first round and then just got stiffed by Osborne. Just got chinned. He just got hit with a good punch, and he wasn't. I wanted him to wrestle more. I mean, he did attempt 4 takedowns, but he wasn't super hardcore chasing it. He was mixing up the striking a little too much, and that was my fear, is that you're standing with the guy who's bigger and longer, who has KO power, and ultimately that's what happened. Next fight, we were high on Tavares by decision. That was a 1 unit play. That was very easy. It went exactly as how we expected. The next fight, we were on Cortavius but +3.5, and he missed weight. Didn't look like he was in great shape after that. And Chang Ho Lee looked awesome. He destroyed him, beat him up pretty bad. Got to finish in round two. Next fight went as we predicted. We gave out a half unit on Joe Anderson Brito by first round KO because we felt that was his only path to victory, and it definitely was his only path to victory. Problem is, he threw a body kick to start the fight, and Sabatini caught it, took him down right away, and just controlled him throughout the fight. Was kind of a boring fight. He had almost 14 minutes of control, but if you bet on Sabatini by decision, as I did, then it was enjoyable in that regard.
This fight, and if you paid attention, we said to pay attention to this fight and then the Loma fight. That Nunes was a good first round fighter to watch Loma's line live. He would have cashed live on both of those after the first round. I had Pat live immediately once he got Brito down. I think it was already at minus 200, but you could have hit either of those lines. Then you would have got significant value there.
Yeah. The last fight, main event, Josh Emmett versus Lerone Murphy. We were on Murphy by decision. Didn't give it out as a pick. I don't know why. I texted Red Ray after the fight. I was like, we really weren't on Murphy by decision. I mean, I was on him on my own. I wish we would have gave it out to our fans and followers, but it was a competitive fight. It was a little bit of a sweat in the decision. Didn't feel super comfortable going to the scorecards, but he got the job done. It wasn't the most exciting fight, but when you're fighting someone as dangerous as Josh Emmett, you have to be smart. You have to fight smart, fight tactical, and that's what he did. A bit of a point fight, but I like Murphy moving forward. And honestly, it wasn't a terrible loss for Emmett, so it's not really, his stock isn't dropping too much. But Ray, any thoughts on the main event?
No, yeah, it went about as much as we predicted. I mean, we thought Murphy would win by decision if he did, and I think I played Emmett finish only, but neither really. He didn't really get anything off. I mean, he wrestled a little bit, and then he kind of just sat outside and they played patty cake for 20 minutes. So.
All right, let's get into it. This is our first pay-per-view, UFC 314. Let's jump right in. We start in the women's bantamweight division as Nora Cornell takes on Haley Cowan. Cornell is minus 185 favorite with a comeback on Haley Cowan at plus 155. Red Ray, how do you have it?
Nora's pretty decent fighter. We've seen her a couple of times. Her last fight against Jacqueline Cavalcante, she actually won the first round. I know Cavalcante came on short notice there, but it was actually Nora who looked like she gassed after the first. That was the first time I've really seen her try to implement a grappling game plan. So I don't know if that's really what it was, or they were fighting in France. She might have had like an adrenaline dump. She's from France, so she might have been really pumped for that one. But I also think Cavalcante is a pretty high level striker. So
Yeah.
Haley hasn't fought, I think, in like 2 years. I think she's fought once in 3 years. She's a big girl for the division. She's muscular. I don't know if she's really good at anything else besides pushing and being stronger than her opponent. Something that I really like, just is a pet peeve of mine when I see, like, she obviously had no martial arts experience when she was younger. She picked it up as later when she was just in her whatever 20s or 30s. And whoever her coach was, you could tell she trains in karate. She's like a karate striker. I mean, you can't just pick up karate at 20 and think you're going to be like a high level MMA. Like, they should have had her in a really basic like just basic striking. So you see her, she gets hit all the time defensively because she's trying to bounce like a karate, like she's like Stephen Wonderboy Thompson out there, and she's not. So, I mean, offensively she's okay, but once she gets to about round two, her arms they drop lower and lower. They're like at her waist by round three. Her cardio's not great. I doubt it's going to be any better. She's been off for so long. She's had a lot of medical issues. Her only path to victory here is to just push Nora against the cage and hold her. But if you watch Nora 2 fights ago, she fought Melissa Mullins. That was Melissa Mullins' game plan, and Melissa didn't really have any luck there. Melissa even got her down once. Melissa's a high level jiu-jitsu girl. Couldn't do anything with the ground. I think Nora even might have reversed her on the ground. and Melissa's like a black belt. She's way better than Haley on the ground. You watch Haley on her DWCS fight. She just has no top control. She doesn't like to be on the bottom either. Or both of her losses are by subs, so her grappling is not great. So I don't know if Cornolle is going to get a win here or a finish here, but I can see her just going to decision and winning that way.
Yeah, we're on the same side here. I think Nora's a good striker, especially for a women's fighter. A lot of times, like Haley Cowan, for example, they aren't specialists in striking. I mean, if you look at the fight last week with Vanessa and Toledo, you know, they're not very good at striking, but Nora's actually a pretty good striker. She has 6 finishes by TKO. She mixes it up well, not only with her hands, but she throws a lot of leg kicks. And Haley Cowan, not a good striker. Doesn't do a lot of damage. I also she does have an imposing build, Brock Lesnar esque a little bit, in a somewhat of a comparison there, but she doesn't do a lot of damage. I mean, I could see her having maybe a good first round. Nora has been taken down before. I could see her getting taken down in the first round, but even if she does, if she gets taken down but does more damage, she could still win the round. And as the fight goes on, like Ray said, Haley's going to start to fade. I think Nora's just going to improve. She's going to do more damage. That's the number one criteria for the judges is damage. We've seen fights before where guys have a lot of control, and you'd think in the old days they would win by control. And then it goes to the other fighter who got controlled for a lot of the fight, but they did more damage. So, yeah, that's what it comes down to for me. And I don't think that Haley's going to get finished. She's never been finished by KO. She has 2 submission losses, but that's not Nora's game. I like Nora by decision at plus 140. And also want to point out the over 2.5 is minus 230. So, I mean, Vegas is implying this fight is most likely going to go to decision anyways. So you might as well bet Nora at plus 140 instead of over 2.5 if you were on that for whatever reason. Moving on to the next fight, we move up to the middleweight division. We have Tresean Gore at plus 300 with the comeback on Marco Tulio at minus 400. Montulio here, he's a very creative striker. We saw the finish on Dana White Contender Series with the spinning back kick. I'm on his KO prop at minus 125. And Tresean Gore, he's just someone who doesn't like to get hit. After he got knocked out by Cody Brundage, which is embarrassing to say, all due respect to Cody Brundage, he's not that good. And if you're getting KO'd by Cody Brundage, then I'm very worried for you against Marco Tulio, who's a much better striker and much more dangerous than Cody Brundage is. Tresean Gore, his last 2 fights, they both came the same way, submission by guillotine. The problem is the opponents are not very good. So is he capable of beating low-level guys? I think if he fought Brundage again, I would be on Tresean Gore. But when it comes to someone who's elite in striking, it's not a good matchup for him. I'm on Tulio by KO. I will say, if you want to bet Tresean Gore by submission only at plus 165, that's his path to victory. And there's no chance Tulio is going to look for a submission. So, I mean, it's really nothing to lose, everything to gain if you want to just sprinkle something on that to cover whatever your money is on Tulio KO. But Tulio KO is my play at minus 125. Red Ray, how do you have it?
Yeah, we're pretty aligned here. This is a drastic change of fighters for Gore. He's coming off fighting Trocoli, who only loses, and just lost Mackenzie Dern also in his personal life. And now we have Marco Tulio here, who just is just winning on and off as he is also dating Norma Dumont, so who will probably be in his corner like she was last time. So the energy is going to be much different at the cross from in the cage across from this time. Tulio's a good fighter. He's pretty pretty impressive. He looks like he just throws 100% every time. Um, and he has a good gas tank. 9 of his 13 wins have come in the first or second round. And on his second, I think he won by decision his first time in Dana White's Contender Series. Second time, he fought a guy who was a pretty decent striker. He lit up his legs the whole time and ended up finishing him with a pretty sweet spinning back kick to the body. Um, Gore, like you said, he got knocked out by Brundage. He was fighting friends ever since he came back from the Brundage fight. It looks like he doesn't want to strike anymore. He's just shooting takedowns like he's Chimaev like immediately off of the rip. Against Fremd, he didn't have much success with the grappling, which is Fremd's weakness, so that was kind of alarming. And then Fremd was actually starting to light him up on the feet, and Gore was pretty gassed mid end of the first round. They go to the second round. Fremd was starting to beat him up again, and for no reason whatsoever, Fremd just shot a takedown and got guillotined. No reason. He was lighting him up on the feet. It was a wild decision. That's why Fremd doesn't have a very good record in the UFC. So I just think Tulio has him covered everywhere here. I think Tulio probably, like you said, if Brundage can knock him out, Tulio hits harder for longer than Brundage does. I think Tulio is going to probably finish him second or third round KO here for Tulio.
All right. Tulio KO is the play, -125. Moving up the card, we go to the flyweight division as Sumudaerji is -175 with the comeback on Mitch Raposo at +145. Red Ray, how do you have it?
Sue's coming off I think he's on a 3-fight losing streak right now. His last fight, he lost to Charles Johnson. Got rocked. Probably the fight should have been KO in the second. He got hit with probably 50 unanswered punches at one point, and the ref decided that they were just going to keep letting the fight go. But his grappling does look a lot better, especially against that one. I mean, Johnson's not the greatest grappler on the planet, but it does have wrestling background. And Sue was actually reversing him on the ground and standing up against them when it was clear that Johnson was trying to grapple and win the third round. So I think he's at Alpha, or what is it? Same place Jan is at. What am I think? Team Alpha.
Team Alpha Male?
Team Alpha Male, thank you.
Yeah. Team Alpha Male.
He's over there, so he's obviously doing some grappling over there with Uriah and all them. Mitch he's lost to Andre Lima last time. It was a split decision, but I mean, he lost clear. It was a clear unanimous. I don't know what judge gave him the second and third round. He is a good striker. He's mostly a boxer. He's small for the weight division, but he hits hard. And he basically just likes to bounce on the outside and then blitz in with his hands. He doesn't really use many kicks. He likes to do takedowns. He's got a wrestling background, and he seems to get takedowns whenever he wants. And I never see him go to the ground. He just stands right back up. So I don't know if he has no confidence in his ground game, or if he just would rather strike, or if he doesn't want to gas himself. I'm not sure the reason. But the only time I ever see him on the ground is after he drops somebody, and then he'll do some ground and pound. But if the guy stands back up or gives him any kind of fight to stand up, he'll just let him stand back up. So I wanted to be on Raposo here, so I think he hits harder. But I think Sue's main weakness is when people pressure him. He loves to just stand in the middle of the cage and just throw jabs, throw straights, and leg kicks. And Raposo, if you watch him last fight against Lima and on his regional tape, he just likes to dance around the outside, and then he'll blitz. And against a longer, taller guy like Sue, and I don't know how much success he's going to have. It's similar to what he fought against Lima. He kept blitzing and he couldn't land any strikes. So I think he could knock him out. So I think Raposo finish only is a great play here. It's +110, but I'm going to pick Sue to just win off volume and striking and survive. And go win by decision here.
Yeah, this was a hard one for me to pick. I think that Sumudaerji is definitely going to have a significant advantage on the feet. He's much longer, mixes it up better, has more weapons. Like you pointed out, Raposo really only uses his hands. I think Raposo his path to victory is going to be looking for the takedown. Sumudaerji's been exposed, getting taken down and submitted in fights before. I think that's a path to victory for Mitch Raposo. He's 9-2 overall. So far 0-2. Really, I mean, technically, if you want to count his Ultimate Fighter run, he lost that fight as well, even though he was the first overall pick actually by Volkanovski in that season. He's still young. He hung in tough against Lima, who I think is pretty good. I think if you can hang in tough against Lima, you can hang in tough against Sumudaerji. I'm going to sprinkle on Raposo by submission. It's plus 750. I think that should be his game plan. If I'm him, is try to get takedowns. He's primarily a wrestler, and look for some sort of submission. Sumudaerji's been submitted 6 times in the UFC. So I mean, it's right there. So I'm not super high either way. My official pick is going to be Raposo. I think he's just. I think he has more opportunity to grow and improve. I mean, Sumudaerji, he's 29, but he's wearing knee pads in fights. I mean, his knees are got to be torn up. His only finish since 2018 is over Malcolm Gordon, who gets finished by everybody. So I mean, you said you like Raposo, finish only. I think that makes sense given what I just stated. If Raposo can't get the takedowns, it's going to be Sumudaerji. If he doesn't get him early, it's going to be Sumudaerji. So I mean, watch the live odds on this. If Raposo can't get a takedown the first round, if he's going for the takedown the first round and he doesn't get it, it's going to be tough. So official play, I am on Raposo. That's going to be my pick. It's not a lock. I like the submission at plus 750 with the sprinkle. Sumudaerji by decision at plus 140 because he doesn't finish anybody. So we'll move on up the card. This is one I'm excited for. We have the middleweight division, Cedric Dumas at plus 160 with a comeback on Mikhail Oleksiejczuk. Tough name to pronounce, the Polish fighter, former light heavyweight. Dumas is notorious for being hated by Red Ray and I. We are not fans. He's a very raw fighter. He does a little bit of everything, but he doesn't do anything great. He does everything okay. His striking isn't great. It's okay. His wrestling isn't great. It's okay. His record in the UFC is 4-2, but he hasn't beaten anyone that's very good. I mean, his wins are over Cody Brundage, Dennis Tululian, who's well past his prime, and he's not finishing these guys. He has one submission win on Dana White Contender Series against the guy who tapped to a standing guillotine. I don't think Dumas is that. I don't think he's UFC level. I think that he's getting good matchups. And on the other side, Mikhail Oleksiejczuk is someone that Ray and I have joked around before in previous fights. I remember Ray saying that he was training out of his garage. But I'm happy to announce he's now training with the Fighting Nerds. And to me, that's a great sign because this is a guy who was competitive at light heavyweight. He was always a small light heavyweight. He went down to middleweight. He kind of lost himself for a little bit. He took some tough fights. Michelle Pereira, Kevin Holland, Shara Bullet. He's been in there with Kyle Borrelio, who submitted him, but now he is training with him. He's only 30 years old. He's clearly turned a leaf, recognized he needs to be in a real gym with real athletes. We know how good the Fighting Nerds have been. I liked him before he was taking his career as serious as he needed to. I really like him in this fight. Dumas is pretty durable, so my official pick is going to be Michelle by decision at plus 300. And that's all I have. Red Ray, how do you have it?
Yeah, that the news of him going to Fighting Nerds was also very exciting to hear. I'm very confused on how they communicate, seeing as they're all Portuguese or Brazilian, and they speak Portuguese over there. And Mikey O is from Poland. So I'm not confident that there's the greatest communication, but at least he's training with actual people instead of his buddies from down the street. So that's got to be a plus somewhere. Yeah, not much to say here. Dumas is not good. He doesn't. Doesn't like to be. He doesn't like to be hit. He doesn't. He reacts awkwardly to all strikes. He doesn't seem to strike anymore. I know he struck a lot on the regional scene before Dana White Contender Series. Now he doesn't really ever strike. He just likes to wrestle. Seems to have okay takedowns, but he has no idea what he's doing on the ground. He constantly is looking over at his corner, asking for help on things that he just kind of holds people on. So he just gets away with just being athletic. Uh, Oleksiejczuk, he's going to be the much better striker, much better power. Like you said, he used to be a 205 and he knocked people out at 205. So he's going to carrying that weight. It's not like he is cutting a lot of weight. He probably could go to 170 if he wanted to. He's not the greatest physique in the planet, but he has a lot of power. And you did see him wrestle a little bit against Bull his last fight out. I think he took him down twice. So he's actually bringing like good game plans in there too, because obviously Shard has no grappling either. So the fact that he was even willing to go to the ground seems like an improvement to me. So yeah, I just think like you, I don't know if he's gonna knock out Dumas, but I don't see Dumas just winning. I mean, like you said, he's barely eking out wins over Cody Brundage and Abu Azaitar. So old Jacob much better than those guys. So go with Jacob's money line here, minus 205 is the play.
Yeah, and I wanted to point out that Dumas's loss 2 fights ago it was kind of a weird stoppage. I mean, he was like poked in the eye. He wasn't out cold. Um, I mean, I don't think he was going to win the fight. I'm just trying to point out his durability and the fact that it's not like he's coming off and he went out cold, his lights were out,
Yeah.
anything like that. So, Mikhail money line is our play, and I also like him by decision as my official pick at plus 300. Let's move up the card to the featherweight division. We have Darren Elkins at plus 260 with the comeback on Julian Erosa at minus 340. Red Ray, how do you have it?
I'll preface this by saying that there's not a bigger Darren Elkins fan out there than me. I love the guy. He's cashed for me multiple times. I think he looks like he's 75 years old. He couldn't be any slower on the feet, but he somehow just shoots takedowns, grinds people. His grappling's okay, but he just has it seems like he has endless cardio. I really wanted to take him here. But if you look at Elkins, when he wins fights, he wins off of people having a grappling. Either they're not a great grappler or they have cardio issues. Unfortunately, Rosa doesn't really fit either of those bills. He's got a lot of submissions. Rosa's main issue is that he has a bad shin. Elkins isn't going to be able to take advantage of that. I know I saw a couple of people thinking that Elkins is uh, going to gas out Erosa. I've never seen any signs of Erosa gassing. He doesn't really go late in fights, honestly. So it's hard to really even know that he does have. But if you watch this fight against Hakeem Dawodu, it was a little bit ago, but went all 3 rounds. And Dawodu's a striker. He lit him up on the feet, hurt him multiple times, and was also taking him down. So, and there was no slowing down. I think he won round 2 was close, and he dominated Dawodu in round 3. So I just don't see like a path for Elkins. I don't even think he's going to really get in on takedowns because Erosa is so long. I really think that and I don't even think Erosa's path to victory is submission. I think if he wins, it's either by decision or knockout. Not that I think he's going to knock Elkins out, but Elkins cuts he might get cut by the Vaseline guy and the cut man in the beginning before the fight. He's got so much scar tissue on his thing. So Erosa's going to hit him with something, an elbow or something early on. He's going to start bleeding immediately. And I think there's going to be points where Erosa's just so much better on the feet and so much faster that it's going to be like almost like either a doctor stoppage or the ref gets in there and stops it. I don't think he's going to knock him out completely, but I could just see like him just being completely soaked in blood and the ref having to stop the fight.
Yep, we are very much aligned here. Darren Elkins, 29-11 overall, 19-10 in the UFC. This will be his 30th fight. Yeah, his game plan is to grind you out and wear on you, out wrestle you, exhaust you. Erosa has great cardio. He is a guy who generally wants to be on the ground anyways. But his striking is it's average. And when Elkins is striking is very below average, that's going to be a significant advantage for Erosa. Elkins can go for days. If this was a 30-round fight, he might be able to win. But Erosa, like I said, he's got great cardio too. So in a 3-round fight, Erosa is going to be right there with him the whole time. Yeah, Ray pointed this out, but I wrote down that Elkins loves bleeding. He is constantly bleeding in every single fight. He's bleeding like crazy. To the judges, that's going to look like damage. So when Erosa cuts him open within the first round, he's bleeding everywhere, and then he's landing shots and blood's going everywhere. Elkins has only been submitted once, and that was by Charles Oliveira a very long time ago. Erosa, I don't think he's going to be able to get submission. That's typically his game plan, but I do think he's just going to try to keep the fight standing because he's going to have a significant advantage there. He's bigger, he's longer, he's younger. I like him by decision because I don't think he's going to be able to finish Elkins with the durability that Elkins has shown, unless it's some sort of doctor stoppage. But Erosa by decision at plus 180 is the official play there. Let's move on to the lightweight division as we have Jim Miller at plus 525 with a comeback on Chase Hooper at minus 900. Jim Miller, 38-18 overall, 27-17 in the UFC. Obviously a legend, Hall of Famer. He has won 3 of his last 4, but 3 of his last 4 were against pretty low competition, and Chase Hooper gets better every fight. He's a real prospect. He is a legitimate BJJ expert, and Jim Miller is too. But I mean, Hooper's 25, Miller's 41. He's talking about how his body's beat up. He had a quote about Indiana Jones in his interview this week, where he said Indiana Jones in his final movie said it's not the age, it's the mileage, and that's how his body feels. Some days it aches more than others. For me, Jim Miller's only path to victory in this fight is first round KO. I don't see him winning any other way. Hooper, he did get first round TKO'd against Steve Garcia a few years ago. I think his striking has improved leaps and bounds since that fight. I'm very much on Hooper here. I'm not sure how he's going to win. I think it really could be any way. I mean, if he's able to get takedowns and just beat up Miller, we've seen him win in that way. He's obviously a submission specialist, so I could see a submission. I could also see the durability of Miller keeping him in the fight, and Hooper winning by decision. I have to make a choice, and I'm going to give credit to Jim Miller. I think that Hooper is going to win the fight by decision at plus 215. That is my official pick. Red Ray, how do you have it?
Yeah, I mean, you said a lot. Said basically all you needed to say about this. I mean, Hooper, I mean, since going up to 155, he looks like he's just a completely different fighter. He's added all 10 pounds was all muscle, and he's obviously added more than that. I mean, he looks good physically. He's just absolutely just dominating guys. Miller's we love Miller here, so no, this isn't like a Miller party, but he's obviously super old. I think he obviously is a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and he's submitting a lot of guys, but I just think this is like a levels issue where it's more like old school jiu-jitsu versus newer school. I don't even think Hooper's necessarily going to get it like a clean double leg at any point. He just kind of just rolls for he'll go for a takedown, doesn't get it, and then he just starts rolling around, and at some point just grabs you. It just is an awkward. He just gets into something where he gets a hold of you, and then you're like thought you were at the takedown, and now he has your back, and he's got his hooks in, and it's you just don't even know it happens. And like you said, Miller, I think he's only been submitted once in forever, and it was also by Charles Oliveira. So I don't know if Miller gets or if Cooper gets the submission, but I could see this being similar to the Borshev fight where I think the first round is going to be competitive. Miller may be able to hold off on the ground, grapple, maybe keep it standing for a while. But then his gas tank has never been the greatest. Cooper is nonstop. He's just like Elkins. They just go on forever. So I think a second round, third round, he's going to get into dominant positions. He's got multiple KOs in the UFC already. He should have had one against Borshev, but the ref just refused to stop the fight. So he ended up having to submit him, but he could easily. I just see him just landing a lot of ground and pound here and maybe win by KO. I think that's plus 500. So I think that's a good play here. But minus 3.5 Hooper. I think if you want to get the line down from is minus 275.
Yeah, I also wanted to point out, I just mentioned the Borshev fight. Hooper was a small underdog in that fight. I know we were on Hooper. I mean, I was so pumped watching that fight, watching that performance. But Borshev was a guy people were worried was going to light up Hooper, and Hooper ended up knocking him down. And one other note on the Miller durability, hasn't been finished since 2018, and guess who? Submission to Charles Oliveira.
Mm-hmm.
Same guy that got Darren Elkins. So, all right, let's move on. Up the card, we move to the women's strawweight division. We have Yan Xiaonan at plus 125 with a comeback on Verna Kakarata Jandiroba at minus 150. Red Ray, how do you have it?
Been flip-flopping on this one all week. I'm a big fan of Jan, obviously a big fan of Verna also, but I love Jan's striking. One of the things I do like is that both these ladies know how they win fights and they don't mess around with the other paths. You won't see Verna try to get into a striking match, or you won't see Jan trying to out grapple people. They know their path is by striking and by grappling. So I do enjoy that. Makes me feel better about him. Just the fight IQ is going to be high here. Verna's just going to shoot takedowns. She's going to throw overhands to get to the takedowns. She'll shoot. I don't think her grappling is even that great as far as wrestling is, but she just shoots so many, and at some point she just drags you to the ground. I think she doesn't look very strong, but I think the way she once she gets a hold of people can take them down. I think she is surprisingly strong to a lot of the girls in that weight class. Jan hits hard. She's a good striker. She moves. At last fight we saw her against Ricci, who's also probably wants to take it to the ground, and she just you just use her footwork to kind of stay away from the takedowns. I know Ricci only shot 3, but I think she just wasn't able to even get to him because of Jan's footwork. So I think that does help her because we're in the big cage and not at the apex. So I'm going to lean towards Jan just because the number is a dog there, because I'm hoping that she can stuff the takedowns early and maybe survive. Her grappling's gotten better. You can see from like when she got dominated by Esparza a bunch of years ago, she shows like improvements, little mini improvements every single time out. Just seems like there's certain points where she just doesn't know how to like put it all together. Like against Whaley, like she got submitted in the first round. She was out cold for some reason. Jason Herzog is like, wake up, and brought her to the corner. And then she got TKO'd in the second round, and then Herzog was like, nah, just keep going. We'll just keep doing it. And then she won the third round and dropped Whaley like multiple times. And so like she doesn't quit, but I just don't know if she goes to the ground, I think it's going to be really stressful if you're on Jan's side. But I think this is a real 50-50 fight. If you're going to give me Jan as a plus money here, I want to take her.
Yeah, we're very much aligned here. This was a really tough one to pick. Everyone else that I've seen give out picks is on Verna. I'm not as confident. I mean, we just saw Yan be competitive with Zhang Weili. We know how elite she is. Um, we saw her just beat Tabitha Ritchie, and Ritchie's game plan is to take you down, similar to Verna, and she was stuffing all the takedowns. Jan is a little bit bigger of the fighter here. She's got a couple inches on her. 19-4 overall, 9-3 in the UFC. Only has one submission loss, was 15 years ago. We know that's going to be Verna's game plan, is to take you down, control you, grind you out, and try to look for a submission. She has 14 submission wins. You pointed out earlier, Jan is training at Team Alpha Male with, a lot of the elite small featherweight bantamweight fighters over the past decade. Uriah Faber, Chad Mendez. Who's their jiu-jitsu coach? Ray, I'm blanking on it. Do you know? He was on The Ultimate Fighter a long time ago.
I don't know that.
But I'm confident she's not going to get submitted with the strong male athletes that she trains with, that are around her size. And I think her takedown defense looked very much improved in the last fight. She's a significantly better striker. She has power in her hands. We haven't seen Verna get finished by TKO. But I just, like Ray said, if you're going to give me a fight that I feel is a 50-50 fight, I'm going to lean towards someone based on recent performance who was able to defend the takedowns, drop the champion multiple times in the championship fight. Verna, she's on a 4-fight win streak. She had a great submission win over Amanda Lemos. She hasn't looked that great as of late. She had a unanimous decision win over Lupi. That is somewhat impressive. Marina Rodriguez doesn't have any grappling. Angela Hill, who Ray and I are a fan of. But I mean, ultimately, this is a tough one to pick, and I'm gonna lean with Jan, based on what I saw in the last fight of good takedown defense and power in her hands. So Jan money line is the play, plus 125. We also like her plus 3.5 at minus 165. I would say decision. Go ahead.
Oh, you're finish. You can finish.
I would say decision, but I don't want to. I don't want to not be on a potential Jan KO if that comes in during the fight. It would break my heart if I wasn't a part of that. So Jan money line. Red Ray.
I did hear today that Verna, I guess, used to also train at Team Alpha Male when Jan was there, which makes me feel like maybe I don't think Team Alpha Male would tell her to take that fight if she was getting like steamrolled by Verna in sparring. So I don't know if Verna's still there or not. Was Danny Castillo the jiu-jitsu coach you're looking for? That's the only one I
No.
can find. The guy who's supposedly the jiu-jitsu coach. I don't know. I've never heard of him. It's Dustin Akbari.
That's not who I'm thinking of either. I'll find it when you go through the next fight. Moving up the card, we have Dan Ige at plus 150 with the comeback on Sean Woodson at minus 180. This is in the featherweight division. I'll take this one first. So Dan Ige, he's fought the who's who in the featherweight division. Lerone Murphy in this last fight fought Diego Lopes on same day notice, which was incredible. Andre Fili, Bryce Mitchell, Nate Landwehr, Movsar Ivloyev, Josh Emmett, Chan Sung Jung, Edson Barbosa. He's 18-9, but he's fought the who's who of the division. He's 11-8 in the UFC. He's very well rounded. 6 wins by KO, 5 wins by submission. Needs to fight smart here in this fight. He needs to have a good game plan. He has a good coach in Eric Nixick at Extreme Couture. He needs to win this fight. He's dropped 3 of 4. I think this is an important fight for him to get back on track. He's still 33 years old. He's still young. And this is going to be a big step up for Sean Woodson. He has not fought anyone to the level of Dan Ige. This is going to be an interesting fight. I mean, Ige's obviously, he's only 5'7". He's 71-inch reach. He's going up against Sean the Sniper Woodson. who is 6'2" with a 78-inch reach. Sean Woodson's plan is going to be to jab you to death. He doesn't have a lot of finishing power potential. He only has 4 TKO wins of his 13 wins. Only 4 of them are by KO or TKO. I don't want to call him a point fighter, but a little more of a point fighter in that sense. He has shown improved takedown defense, but I think that needs to be the plan for Ige here. I don't think he wants to be striking with a guy who is much bigger than him for 3 rounds. If I'm Ige, if I'm Eric Nixick, if I'm the wrestler, let's wrestle. We need to wrestle. We need to get this big man down. I don't think it's going to be easy, just given the frame of Woodson, but I think there's I like the long shot possibility of Ige by submission. It's 18-1. He does have 5 submission wins. That is Woodson's only loss is to submission. That needs to be Ige's plan here is to take him down and find some sort of submission. I like that at plus 1800. This fight to go over 2.5 rounds is minus 310, I believe. Minus 325. So Vegas feels this fight's going to go to decision. If you are confident in the Woodson side, just bet him by decision. Only 4 TKO KO wins. Dan Ige's never been finished. All 9 of his losses are due to decision. I'm going to be on the Ige side here on the money line plus 150. Red Ray, how do you have it?
I just don't know if you watch Dan's fights. I mean, he's pretty basic in how he fights. He's mostly with his hands, not really many kicks. I know you call him by submission, but he doesn't really ever go for takedowns. He's only had no more than 1 takedown, and last time he had more than 1 takedown was 2018. He only has 28% takedown accuracy, and Sean's, I mean, he has been stuffing takedowns. He's at 84% takedown defense. Not that he's been facing any like high level wrestlers or anything, but even Yusuf Saval, who is a pretty decent wrestler, only took him down twice. That was the last time he got taken down more than once in a fight. So I don't know if Ige is going to be able to take him down. So I think it is going to be standing the whole time. And while I do think Ige has a chance to knock him out, I don't think Woodson has the greatest chin on the planet. He's got to get in that. He's got to find that range. But I think Woodson's just going to pop him from the outside like he does in pretty much all of his fights. I know he randomly had a KO last time against Padilla, who was just basically walking towards him with his hands down. I don't know what Padilla's game plan was there. And there was mild concern in the fight before he fought Alex Caceres, who's not a great at anything really. And 3rd round, Caceres was kind of turning it on. And Woodson looked like he was mildly gassed from not a high tempo fight. But I don't know if Ige is going to really just have anything to really force any kind of like force Woodson to get tired or force him out of his game plan. But I'm not really like overly confident in Woodson. I don't love his style. If you're going to bet him, I mean, decision's the only play. Ige finish only though. I think he's the only one with a path of victory. By finish is minus 200. I think that's a pretty safe play.
You said that Ige hasn't been looking for takedowns in his recent fights, and that is factually accurate, but I'm just saying that he needs to be trying to get the fight to the ground. I could see him going back to the wrestling. I mean, that is his base is wrestling.
Hawaiian wrestling, I don't know what that's really doing for him. So
well, you'll see. And the Blue Bart loyal fans sprinkle a little 18-1 on the submission. I called it on the Bannon fight a few weeks ago in our first show that never went live, but God knows. So and I also want to point out Chris Holdsworth was the name I was looking for.
I saw him on there. I don't even know who that guy is.
He was on the Ultimate Fighter.
The Ultimate Fighter, was he?
Yeah. He was 6-0 and he just retired. He was 2-0 in the UFC. Submitted Davey Grant. My Rear Naked Show.
My mistake.
Talked about last week, and the fight got canceled.
Chris, if you're watching, I apologize.
Casual Ray. All right, let's move on to the main card, the pay-per-view card. Um, we uh, we start in the light heavyweight division with Nikita Krylov at minus 180 with the comeback on Dominic Reyes at plus 150. Red Ray, how do you have it?
This if this fight was 2 years ago, I would be max betting Krylov here, but fortunately, he might have possibly passed away in the last 2 years, and this might be a Krylov clone, and I'm just not sure how the clone's going to fight. So we have no idea what he's been doing for the last 2 years. Supposedly, the new rumor is that he had a shoulder injury and he didn't die. So I guess we'll find out. But I haven't really seen anything about what's going on. He hasn't really posted any training videos or anything. So I don't know how even healthy he is. Heard it was a pretty serious shoulder injury. But before that, I mean, he's a pretty wild first round fighter. He's got his last three fights. He's got wins over Ryan Spann, Ozdemir, and Gustafsson. So that shows you how long it's been since he's fought. That his 3 fights ago was Alexander Gustafsson. But his win over Ozdemir was pretty impressive. Ozdemir, I think, is a quality fighter, and he did whatever he wanted. He beat him on the feet, and he was grappling whenever he wanted. Span win, not so impressive, but it was a first round finish like he should have done. On the other hand, you got Reyes, got back-to-back wins by KO. I know everyone's super excited about him, maybe that he's back. I don't know if they haven't watched the fights. He's looked very unimpressive. He all of a sudden his physique is awful. What really turned me on to Reyes was I was really pumped for him after he beat Jacoby. I was like, oh, I felt good for him. Finally got him back into the win column. And then he just flat out lied to me in his post-fight with I don't know who he was interviewing, but he said that he had taken his diet seriously and hadn't had any like junk food for the last whatever so much months. Like I don't have eyes and I can't see what his body looks like. He all of a sudden has love handles. He has no muscle tone in his chest or anything. But I'm supposed to believe that he's taking his diet seriously. That's when I turned on him. But if you watch him against Jacoby, he was getting lit up on the feet again. Just happened to find uh, a nice clean shot backpedaling. And Jacoby, not the greatest chin in the planet anymore. He's kind of getting up there in age. Last fight was really alarming. He took on Anthony Smith. Anthony Smith's first off not great anyways, but had just lost his coach a couple weeks previous. He was crying on the walkout. He was a mess emotionally. And Reyes won the first round was actually pretty competitive. At one point, Smith was just walking towards him with his hands down, and Reyes was hitting him clean, and it wasn't even hurting Anthony Smith, who's not the most durable guy on the planet. So I don't know how much, like, I don't even know if Reyes' power, I think, is pretty overrated. In the second round, Smith just grabbed a single leg and just held on to it for dear life, and he had just an emotional breakdown in the cage and just curled up, refused to strike. And Reyes had possibly some of the most pathetic ground and pound I've ever seen. I think he landed like 80 strikes. I don't know at any point it even hurt Smith. The ref just finally came in, was like, I've seen enough, because Smith was just he was just refusing to stand up, even though Reyes was basically letting him stand up over and over. So I'm not seeing the improvements that everyone else is seeing, I guess. Like I said, if I knew what kind of Krylov I was getting, it would be an easy path to here. I think maybe Reyes might have the better cardio. Krylov does slow down sometimes, but I just think Krylov's just going to be so much better. We saw him take down Magomed Ankalaev. So if he could take him down, he could take down Reyes. He might, we know that his grappling is obviously much better than Dominic Reyes's. I just think he's going to land the bigger shots here. On the off chance that Krylov is rusty, you can play fight to win by KO. That's either covers you on both sides. It's plus 120. But I'm heavily on the Krylov side here. I don't know outside of a lucky strike that Reyes lands how he's going to win this fight.
Nikita Krylov. is one of Blue Bart's favorite fighters. I am a huge Krylov mark because he's awesome. He's so good. And, Ray and I have been joking around for the past couple of years that Ray's telling me he died and now there's a clone and all this nonsense. Um, I think Krylov can be a future champion. I might even have a ticket on him to be champion by the end of the year at 80-1. This guy is very well rounded. His kryptonite has been some submission losses. Paul Craig, he was destroying. He got caught in a triangle. He went to a competitive decision against Magomed Ankalaev, the current champion. More recently, had a wild fight with Span. He submitted him, beat Uzdemir, as you pointed out, knocked out Alexander Gustafsson, beat Johnny Walker, split decision, lost to Glover Teixeira. The list goes on and on. He's only been KO'd once, and it was in his very first fight in the UFC all the way back in August 31st of 2013 against Soa Palali, who was a true heavyweight, 265. Krylov did have a small span at heavyweight, never should have been at heavyweight. But since moving down to light heavyweight, he's 11-7 overall in the UFC. He's got title aspirations. He did have the shoulder injury, took a lot of time off. He was supposed to have a fight a few months ago, got canceled, but not on his side. Excuse me. On the other side, Dominic Reyes is a complete shell of himself. I wonder if he was actually ever even any good because of how bad he has looked ever since the John Jones fight, ever since the Yuri fight. Yuri just broke him. Jan broke him, and then Yuri destroyed him, and then you got knocked out by Ryan Spann, which is not aging very well. He got the win over Dustin Jacoby, but Jacoby just got reckless. I don't know what he was doing. He like bum rushed him. He's typically a guy that likes to fight on the outside and counter strike. And he knew that Reyes was chinny, and he's like, I just got to touch the chin. And then he got caught being reckless and got knocked out. Anthony Smith, we're talking about guys that are complete shells of himself. Look no further. As you pointed out, he was, rightfully so emotional on the way to the ring. He like wanted to be hurt. He wanted to get beat up. He's kind of a weird cat. He's retiring. He's going into his next fight as his retirement fight. So, Reyes, he's got 2 wins in a row, but it was to a reckless Justin Jacoby and a bad Anthony Smith. He looks out of shape, as you pointed out. I mean, he doesn't look like he's taking his training super serious compared to Nikita Krylov, who looks like he's in incredible shape. Even in the fights with Jacoby and Smith, I mean, you're still like worried that Reyes is going to get, if he just gets tagged, he's in trouble. And he's going to be in trouble in this fight. This is a huge play for Blue Bart. We're all over Nikita Krylov. I do think he's going to win by KO at plus 275. That's my official pick. But Krylov is very well rounded. 12 of his 30 wins are 16 of his 30 wins are by submission, 12 by TKO. But given Reyes's chin, I think that it is going to be a KO here. It's going to be a big play for Blue Bart. So Krylov is the play. Let's move up the card to the featherweight division. And this is going to be a fun one. We have Bryce Mitchell at plus 190 with the comeback on Jean Silva at minus 235. This line has moved like crazy. I mean, initially John Silva was like minus 350, I want to say, maybe even closer to minus 400 when the first got announced. Bryce Mitchell was definitely over plus 300. He's all the way down to plus 190. He appears to be in incredible shape. He's saying he's not going to lose this fight. You can max bet him. He's very, very motivated for this fight. He looked great against Kron Gracie, who is one of the worst fighters in UFC history. He got starched by Josh Emmett in, one of the most disturbing KOs we've seen in UFC history. That was over 2 years ago. He took a full year off, beat Kron Gracie, which isn't a very impressive win given how bad Kron Gracie is, but he got the job done. He slammed him on his head and knocked him out. On the Gene Silva side, this guy's 5-0 in the UFC. He's got devastating knockout power at the featherweight division. 15-2, 5-0 in the UFC, 12 wins by KO, 28 in his prime. A part of the fighting nerds who have been on fire in the UFC, especially with their newest member, Mikhail Oleksiejczuk. But we saw him get taken down a little bit against Charles Jourdain. Charles Jourdain, pretty well-rounded fighter, not a one-trick pony. And in comparison to Bryce Mitchell, who is a one-trick pony, his one trick is I'm going to take you down, I'm going to hold you, I'm going to exhaust you, I'll look for a submission. We've seen crazy submissions from Bryce Mitchell before. He's got one of the lone twisters in UFC history. Today at the press conference, I mean, he seems super confident. I know this is a blue versus red here. I'm on Bryce Mitchell. I think he's going to be able to close the distance, get the takedowns, control him, grind him out, and find a way to win by decision. I believe he is plus 450 by decision. I just think we've yet to see Jean Silva have to overcome adversity in his short span here in the UFC. I mean, he's been very active, but with that being said, I definitely think Jean Silva by first round KO is very live. It's plus 250. But if Bryce can get out of the first round, if he looks like he's holding his own, I like him on the live odds for sure. The longer this fight goes, I think the more it gets in his favor. My official pick is going to be Bryce Mitchell by decision at plus 450. Red Ray, have at it.
If you are going to play Bryce Mitchell this week, definitely only play him by decision. I am not sure where everybody thinks that Bryce is some kind of elite control artist on the ground. I get messed maybe against the Edson Barbosas of the world who get dominated by everyone grappling. Not impressive. He doesn't submit anybody. He submitted one guy by twister, Matt Sales, right? And that's who knows what Matt Sales is doing with his life. Bryce doesn't really train with anybody of quality, so it's not like he's getting better at any point. His main training partner is AJ Cunningham. We see what he does. If you watch the Dan Ige fight, Dan Ige, I know you think Dan Ige is a high-level wrestler. His stats say otherwise. He's only defending 56% of takedowns. Bryce was 5 of 15 against him. And at no point, a couple of times he did have some nice takedowns where he went right into mount. At no point did he land any ground and pound of any kind of significance. Anytime he got to the ground, he basically just held on for dear life. And then if he tried to move for anything, Ige would start getting up immediately. So he has no control. He has no control if he's going to actually land ground and pound. So no damage will be occurring. He kind of took Ige's back in the second round.
Did you not see the beating he put on Kron Gracie?
Okay, well, that's because I mean, if Gene Silva starts pulling guard, I will come out next week or 2 weeks from now and say that I was wrong on this, but I don't think that's going to be the case here. And then anytime he took down in his second, I think the second round he got Ige down and took his back, and really, I mean, he had a half close submissions, but really nothing crazy. And on the ground, standing up, they weren't standing for very long, and it only took Ige 18 significant strikes, and Mitchell's whole eye was completely shut. Second round, he was getting lit up again. He had multiple cuts on his eye. Doctor almost stopped the fight in the second round. if Gene Silva's landing 18 strikes, it's probably not even going to be, the fight's probably going to be over by then. So I'm not even sure. Like, I'm just worried that if he doesn't get takedowns immediately, the other concern was he waited until about 3 minutes into the first round to shoot a takedown on Ige. I hope that's not his game plan here. He's going to have to shoot immediately. So, onto the Silva side, I know people keep highlighting this Charles Jourdain getting taken down. It would be concerning if he then got taken down and held there for 10 minutes at a time. The first time he pulled guillotine, didn't get it, and then immediately stood up from the guillotine. Second time was right at the end of the round, so it was just a takedown. And the third time, he immediately pushed Jourdain's head away and stood up. I think the 3 takedowns were a combined 10 seconds of control. So it'd be one thing if Silva was like okay with laying on his back, or if he showed me that he didn't know how to get up from takedowns, but he obviously knows how to. Mitchell's already shown his control is against higher level fighters is not great. So he did take down Ilia Topuria. Everyone's really excited about that. And then he got submitted in the second round. So I don't know there's not much there for me on that one. His other people that he's taken down, Andre Fili, who knows if someone might have paid Andre Fili $20 and he might have just thrown that fight. So who knows if he even was trying. Charles Rosa was somebody he got 3 takedowns against. In his second fight in the UFC, he got taken down 5 times by Bobby Moffett and didn't get any takedowns of his own. And in his Ultimate Fighter finale, he was taken down 3 more times and he got 3 of his own. But once again, at no point his highest significant strike count is 46.
No.
What do you see?
Oh, wait. All right. You may be right.
46, yeah. So what are we talking about here? People are just hoping that Gene Silva sucks on the ground. Obviously, we don't have much proof of it, but if you're on Bryce's side, you're just hoping that he's terrible on the ground and he forgets how to get up. But like you said, he trains with multiple Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belts that are much better than Bryce on the ground. I'm sure that he is, like I said, he's already shown that he knows how to get up from the bottom. I'm sure he's been working on this. He's going to be the much stronger guy. I mean, he's built like a tank. I'm all over Gene Silva here, and this isn't even like a Bryce Mitchell hate guy. I mean, I saw everyone on Bryce Mitchell and was like, oh, maybe I should be on the Bryce Mitchell, but I just don't know how you can watch tape and see that Bryce is going to have any success in the grappling here. So,
what are your thoughts on Bryce Mitchell beating Chepe Mariscal in a championship fight?
Who was that? Bryce
Chepe
Mitchell?
Mariscal, yeah.
What year was that?
2017.
2017. So I have no thoughts on it. That I've forgotten about it completely.
Okay.
I even think, if let's say Bryce does get a takedown, like I said, he's not doing any damage. I actually thought Dan Ige beat Bryce. I thought he did. He definitely won round 1. I thought he did the more damage in round 2 before getting taken down. I could see Gene doing the same thing where he does a lot of damage on the feet, maybe gets taken down and controlled for a little bit, and just wins a decision that way. But I really think Gene's going to finish him before that. Round 1 KO's 265, round 2's 425. Just by KO alone is plus 120. So like I said, if you want to play Bryce Mitchell, you can play by points. It's plus 400. It's a good number.
Yeah, I want to point out this is not a lock for me by any means, but I am going to pick Bryce Mitchell to win. That's been stated, and I'm really looking forward to this fight. This has been a great build-up. The press conference was good today. The stare down was good. So let's hope this fight performs. All right, let's move up the card, and we're going to really lean on Red Ray here as we move up to the featherweight division for Yair Rodriguez at -190 with a comeback on Patricio Pitbull at +160. Red Ray, give it to us.
I'm going to be on Yair here. I don't think Pitbull's a bad fighter. I just think he's getting old. His last fight, he's fought Jeremy Kennedy, who, if you watched PFL last week, he fought there and lost for his 3rd straight time. Kennedy was actually having a lot of success against Pitbull, standing up. He hurt him in the second round. I think he hurt him early in the second round, and then got Pitbull actually landed a nice shot late in the round and finished him. But he just doesn't, he's not very active on the feet. He likes to just stand out there, doesn't do a lot of movement. A lot of his stuff is he just wants to counter. 2 fights ago, he went to Ryzen. I think he took the fight on like a week's notice and fought a guy up a weight class. I think it was at 155. And this guy was, I don't know if you've ever watched that fight, this guy was a maniac. Literally, I think he threw like 70 haymakers in the first 3 minutes of the fight, and just happened to clip Pitbull at one of them and dropped him. So that fight didn't really mean anything to me. Fight before, he went down to, he was actually at 135 and fought Sergio Pettis, and just didn't almost lost all 5 rounds on some of the judges' scorecards. Just nothing, and couldn't get anything going. He just doesn't really do much besides strike, or I mean box, and maybe throw the random low kick. Yair, he's coming off that loss to Brian Ortega, where he almost finished him in the first round, and then just looked like he completely gassed after that, and was just dominated on the ground after that. And then he lost to Volk the fight before, even though that fight was not as, I mean, he got TKO'd by Volk, but he got rocked by a clash of heads, and then Volk finished him with strikes after that. But I don't know if Volk would have finished him without the clash of heads previous to that. He was taken down 7 times there. So once again, grappling's not his thing. He did submit Josh Emmett off the bottom, but that was after he rocked Josh Emmett, and just I think Emmett wasn't really even fully there yet. I just think Yair's a much better striker, much more. He's got a lot more tools. I think he's going to easily bank round 1. Round 2, he should bank it. I mean, should be able to bank that. Round 3 might be sketchy. He doesn't have the greatest gas tank in the world. I watched the fight with him against Jeremy Stephens. It's 6 years ago at this point, but I feel like that's going to be pretty similar to how this fight goes. Jeremy Stephens is also just
poke him in the eye.
No, that was the fight before. That was the fight. I did not watch that one.
Okay.
This is the one that actually went to decision. But he hurt Jeremy Stephens bad in the second round. Anytime Yair goes southpaw, and the other guy's orthodox, he only throws kicks, and he just throws a body kick repeatedly. He'll box more when he's orthodox, but he was lighting Jeremy Stephens up with that body kick. I could see him doing it to Pitbull if he just stands on the outside the whole time. And the problem was that he gassed. He looked like he gassed himself out because he landed, I think, like 50 unanswered shots. It looked like in the second round. That fight also should have got stopped. And after that, you could tell that he really slowed down. He won round 1 and 2, but Jeremy Stephens was able to control him with grappling in the third round. I can see this fight going pretty similar. I think he's going to hurt Pitbull at some point in the first and second round. Third round may be iffy, just because Pitbull carries power in all 3 rounds. But I just don't know if Pitbull, you don't ever see him grapple. So, and if you do, he's not like high level controlling. So I don't know if there's going to be a time where he's going to be able to pressure Yair and gas him out like that. I think Yair could just bounce around, especially in the big cage, just bounce around on the outside, throw his spinning stuff, whatever. So I'm on Yair money line. If you do want to play Pitbull, I think his only path to victory is KO, and it's plus 650, which seems wild. I don't see how he's not going to win a decision. He's not going to, he's too low volume to win a decision, and he's definitely not, I don't think he's going to submit him. So that seems like a crazy line to me, but yeah, I'm on Yair here.
Yeah, so I said we're going to lean on Red Ray here because Blue Bart is generally a UFC guy only, so I'm not super familiar with Patricio's fights in Bellator. Looking at the numbers, what I know about Yair Rodriguez is that this guy is an elite striker. He's been in there with the best of the best. He fought Volkanovski in the title fight. It didn't go his way, unfortunately. But he's 32. He's 5'11". He's got a 71-inch reach. On the other side, you have Patricio, who's going to be 38 years old in a few months. He is 5'5". He's 30. He's going to be 38, and he's got a 66-inch reach. Everyone is saying that Patricio is going to have an advantage in the wrestling. that he's going to try to wrestle Yair. I mean, Red Ray just pointed out that Jeremy Stevens was able to take down him and control him in the last couple of rounds. We saw Volkanovski take him down and beat him up. But I heard on the Anakin Florian podcast that Yair Rodriguez is now training with Bilal. He's gone away for a year. He is very focused on the wrestling. I read in some interviews that he's admitted in his previous training camps he may not have taken them as seriously as he needed to, but he's completely focused. He's changed his mentality. He went away for a year to focus on the wrestling, working with Bilal Muhammad, who's obviously the UFC welterweight champion and an incredible wrestler. And so, with that being said, I'm very confident in Yair. I think he's going to have a significant advantage on the feet. He can mix it up very well. He's very dangerous with all 8 weapons: hands, elbows, knees, kicks. Historically bad with the takedown defense, but after going away for a year and training with Bilal in his camp, I think that that's going to be very much improved. I like his -3.5, his +110, because I mean, I could see the knockout coming, but I think with the improved takedown defense, that I don't think Patricio is going to be able to win a round. Maybe the final round if Yair gasses, but I'm going to believe in what he says. He said he's taking this camp very seriously. This is a 3-round fight, not a 5-round fight. He looked outstanding against Ortega in the first round, and then got taken down and started to slowly fade. But yeah, and in the press conference today, he nearly got into a brawl with Diego Lopes. He clearly wants that title fight. It is a little concerning that I think he might be looking past Patricio, but I think it's just confidence, and I like what I'm hearing. I like what I've seen, and I am very confident in Yair Rodriguez money line at -190. Moving up the card, this is going to be a fun one to discuss. We have Iron Michael Chandler, +130 with the comeback on Paddy the Baddy Pimblett at -155. I'm on Paddy Pimblett here. He seems to be improving in every fight. He looked great against Bobby Green. He looked outstanding against Tony Ferguson. Tony Ferguson is obviously a complete shell of himself. I thought that he looked better against Ferguson than Chandler did against Ferguson. Obviously, Chandler had the outstanding knockout, but the first round was much more competitive than anything Paddy did with Ferguson. I felt like he lost the Jared Gordon fight. I thought that was a bullshit decision. And pretty much everyone did. But since then, he looked great against Ferguson. He looked great against Bobby Green. He finds a way to win. He submitted Jordan Levitt, who's a grappler. He fought a couple scrubs in his first couple fight. He finished both of them. And when we look at the other side of Michael Chandler, he's got big power, but it's big telegraph power. You see it coming from a mile away. He is 2-4 so far in the UFC. Now that's come to all great competition. But his last fight, he got dominated by Oliveira. He won the 5th round by beating Charles Oliveira in the back of the head over and over again. It was terrible reffing. But other than that, he was getting taken down at will and controlled at will. I think it's going to be a similar game plan for Paddy Pimblett, where he's going to look for the takedown. I think Chandler's got too good of submission defense to get finished, but I think that Paddy could KO him. He's been chinned before. He's got 4 losses by KO. And I'm actually pretty shocked with the Pimblett line. Is decision is +1,000, because Chandler, he fades in fights, but he stays in them. I mean, we saw him in the 5th round against Oliveira, but he definitely slows down. And Pimblett is going to slow down as well, but he's always looking in great shape. He's improving every fight. He's 30 years old. He has title aspirations. He is undefeated in the UFC. He's going to be the bigger guy. He's got a little bit of a reach advantage. And I just want a guy who wins the fights versus a guy who keeps finding a way to lose the fight. Um, so my official play is going to be Paddy Pimblett money line at minus 150. I'm a little interested in his decision prop because Michael Chandler, he defends submissions very well. Um, I'm, I Vegas apparently thinks the longer this fight goes, the more it favors Chandler. I don't necessarily agree with that logic. So Pimblett money line minus 150 is my official pick. Red Ray, let's hear it.
Um, I mean, once you said that Patty looked good against Tony Ferguson, I kind of checked out of your breakdown, I'll be honest. He completely gassed out in round two against Tony Ferguson, who was 175 years old, and then decided to he would take him down and just held him on the ground. Um,
30
it,
27, 30 27,
he
30
landed,
27.
he got outlanded in the third round, 41-29 by Tony Ferguson. So that should show all you need to see there. He was 1 of 3 on takedowns in the third round against Tony Ferguson. Um, just, I mean, in the second round, he only outstruck him on significant strikes 19-11. I mean, I don't know what we're talking about here. Against King Green, he was getting beat up on the feet. And obviously, I mean, couldn't have been more of a, hey, someone paid me off to lose this fight. King Green shot a takedown for the first time in like 10 years against a grappler and then just let himself be submitted. I mean, there's nothing to really draw from that fight. It is obviously a fixed fight. And I'll be honest, I'm a Patty fan. But there's nothing to show that he's been getting better at any point. Like you said, he lost to Jared Gordon. Jordan Levitt, who you said he's a grappler, he's a jiu-jitsu guy, he's not a wrestler, got taken down by Jordan Levitt 3 times. In his first 2 fights, he got either rocked or taken down by Kazula Vargas and Luigi Vendramini. So like I just don't know. Like, there's nothing Patty's doing that's impressive. I mean, his gas tank looks like it's getting worse, not better. And now he's going against Michael Chandler, who his losses, like you said, are to Charles Oliveira, Dustin Poirier, and Justin Gaethje. I mean, the level of competition is outrageous. I mean, I would just go through who's the better striker. I think it's Chandler by a mile. Who's the better wrestler? I think it's Chandler. I don't even know if Patty really has an advantage in the jiu-jitsu. I mean, like you said, Chandler's only been, I mean, he got submitted by Poirier. I think that had a lot more to do with the fact that he broke his nose and couldn't breathe out of his nose than it did Poirier submitting him, but it is a submission nonetheless. And he almost knocked out Poirier about 3 times in the first round. He almost dropped Oliveira a couple of times. He went 3 rounds with Justin Gaethje, took 116 significant strikes from Gaethje, only got knocked down 1 time. Patty's not anywhere near the striker that Justin Gaethje is. I think the line's crazy. This is like one of those, like with the Bobby Green fight. There's no reason Patty should have been a favorite over Bobby Green, but he was, and the line wasn't moving. There's no reason he should be a favorite over Michael Chandler. The line's not moving. It kind of worries me. Maybe, I mean, Michael did have another child. Maybe needs some extra dough. Maybe he's also getting the call that Bobby Green got. But
That was going to be my question. Why do you think Patty is the favorite? Because you sound very confident
yeah,
in Chandler.
I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, you're just not seeing anything that would make you feel like Patty doesn't have an advantage anywhere in the fight. Like, you can't tell me that Patty's going to double leg him and take him down like Charles Oliveira did. But Charles Oliveira is like one of the best lightweights in the planet. Obviously, he's a great grappler. And Chandler also hadn't fought for 2 years, so it's a good chance that he was just rusty. I just don't understand the line at all. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't think Chandler's going to submit him. Play him by KO. You can play him by KO or decision, get the line a little bit better. It's plus 150. But I really think that, like, maybe people think Chandler's gas tank isn't great, but if you ever watch him in any of his fights, he does gas because he literally is full 100% on the throttle, but he's in such great shape that he gets second and third wins it repeatedly through the fight. against Poirier, he looked completely gassed at the end of the first round, and then took him down and won the second round. And was he had taken him down again, and he made a mistake on the takedown. That's the only reason Poirier got his back in the third round, or else he would beat Poirier by decision. So, just think, like you say, he's trying to lose fights, but when he gets a step down in competition, aka when he faces Dan Hooker and Tony Ferguson, he wins by finish. Paddy Pimblett's a huge step down from Gaethje, Oliveira, and Poirier. So,
What is your official method of victory for Chandler prediction?
I'll probably say decision, but like I said, it's either KO decision for me.
If I put a gun to your head and ask you to predict how Paddy would win the fight, what do you think it would be? I'm just curious.
I mean, he might maybe, I don't know, like you said, I don't know. He doesn't really get submission. I would maybe say maybe if Paddy comes in here with a cardio and somehow can get Chandler down, I don't see him finishing. I don't think he's going to knock him out. I would probably lean toward a decision there.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I said too, and that's why I thought the decision at plus 1,000 was strange. But I'm going to stick with Paddy. I think that he needs to just follow the Charles Oliveira game plan, and we just saw Chandler get dominated. And I think Paddy can do it. So let's move on to the main event for the vacant featherweight title. We have Alexander the Great Volkanovski at minus 150 with the comeback on Diego Lopes at plus 125. Red Ray, how do you have it?
Lopes coming off that big win over Brian Ortega last time. He looked great standing up. He dropped him multiple times. Fight before he fought Ige. Obviously, you mentioned it was on a day's notice for Ige, and there was some worries in that fight because we saw Ige pretty much control him in the third round. I think that was actually a much bigger advantage for Ige to come in on no day notice than Lopes here, because Lopes, I think that was the third time he had cut weight, or maybe the second or third time he had cut weight in a matter of a week and a half, because Ortega pulled out previous to that, and now he was fighting up. I think they ended up fighting up like 160 or something like that.
Yeah.
So Ige was just rolling off the street, didn't have to cut any weight. Obviously, you know that's a huge issue with that. So that was actually my main worry with Lopes, playing him Lopes this week, because I could see him dominating rounds 1 and 2, but fading as we went to round 3, and then Volkanovski taking over from there. But he did throw against Ortega. He did definitely look like he had slowed down a little bit, but he still threw 103 significant strikes in round 3, which was actually his highest output of the whole fight. And he dropped him again and hurt him again in the third round. So I don't know if he has 5-round cardio. That's my main issue here. Volkanovski, obviously, he's coming off the back-to-back KO losses against Islam, where he literally was that was like he was off the couch 2 days earlier and said he was drinking. And so he got knocked out, but I don't really take much from it. And then he fought Topuria 4 months after that, which I thought was a huge mistake. He won round 1 there, and then obviously got dropped and finished in round 2. So I'm not really concerned with Volkanovski's chin as much as everybody else. I mean, getting KO'd by Topuria doesn't really worry me at all. I'd say I just think Lopes is so fast in the first 2 rounds that it might take Volkanovski a little bit to catch up to him speed-wise, because obviously Volkanovski is getting up there in age. I don't think he's as fast as he once was. And so that's my main concern with this fight. I think if you're going to play Lopes, I think he's very live for first and second round KOs. The numbers there I think are crazy. Lopes round 1 KO is plus 900, round 2 KO is plus 1200. If you just group the rounds, it's plus 400. Those seem like crazy numbers to me. I think he wins round 1 at a 90% clip. Round 2 is probably a little bit less, but I think he still wins it most of the time. Round 3 is going to be sketchy. I just don't know what his cardio is going to be for all 3 rounds. I think Volkanovski wins round 4 and 5. nine times out of 10, but I don't know if he's going to finish Lopes. I can't, uh, I don't know if Lopes has ever been finished. Um, so yeah, I mean, you don't even see him get rocked really. I mean, I know his opponents aren't really high level strikers. You Sadiq
He does
Yusuf
have two TKO losses, but it's been
early
7
on.
years. Yeah.
Gotcha. Um, yeah, I mean, I could see him probably maybe if Volkanovski gets like a takedown or something late in the fourth and fifth round that he can control Lopes. Lopes will just play off his back sometimes, especially when he's tired. We see that against Ige. We saw it against Brito on the Dana White Contender Series, and obviously against Evloev in his first fight in the UFC. And he's, but I just yeah. So this one's a real toss up for me. I just think there's two ways to play it. I think you can play Lopez's first and second round early props. Um, I wouldn't play Volkanovski pre-fight. I would watch and play him live because I just think Lopes wins first couple of rounds at a pretty high margin. So if Volkanovski does win, the only way I see him win is by decision. So if you want to play his decision line, but it's a real tough. My official pick's probably going to be Lopes first or second round KO. I think he lands one of them, but uh, I'm not confident.
Um, I am very confident in Alexander Volkanovski. He's historically in his career, he wants to stay active. I want to stay active. He finally took a break. He's been off for 14 months. He is 36 years old. This was the time away he needed. In his press conference today, he said he is completely done drinking, no junk food at all. In his pictures, it looks like he is in the best shape we've ever seen him. He's extremely cut, extremely lean. In interviews, he has been more posed. He's not kind of the joking around Volkanovski that he's been for a few years. People are saying he's being kind of a mean Volkanovski, not in a literal sense, but more of a killer mentality than joking around. I'm your buddy, Volkanovski. And when you look at his just most recent fights, the Topuria fight, I thought he was winning, and then he got clipped in the second round, and it sucked. The fight before that against Makhachev, he took it on a couple days' notice, and he basically took a baseball bat to the side of his head. It was a devastating knockout that I think would have knocked out anyone that took that kick the way he did. He had a great performance against Yair. He almost beat Makhachev. We saw how that fight went. The longer it went, the better he got. He has fought long, rangy guys like Lopes plenty of times in his career. Makhachev's 5'10". Yair's a big guy. Max Holloway's 5'11". Beat him 3 times. I'm feeling very confident in Volkanovski here. I like Lopes. I am a fan. His best win is most recently he kind of he dominated Brian Ortega, but he couldn't put him away. And he had the win against Ige. That was so weird. He had to cut weight twice. It wasn't a great performance, but I think we cut him some slack there. He finished Sadiq Yusuf. He did finish Sabatini, both first round KOs. I think that's his only path to victory is first round KO. And the thing about Lopes is he is very well rounded. He's very dynamic, but he's not a super crisp striker. He throws a lot of looping shots. He's got the wild hair, the wild man. And he does slow down as the fight goes. You're going to see a lot of this, of the rubbing the neck. Do you remember why he does that?
Yeah, he has a scar on his neck, and when he sweats, it itches.
Okay. He's going to be doing a lot of this. You'll see. But he does slow down a little bit the longer the fight goes. And Volkanovski is probably the greatest fighter in the UFC history who just gets better the longer the fight goes. And he takes the first round off a little bit, gets his reads, and then once he gets going, he's just a well-tuned machine. I don't think he's going to finish Lopes. I think Lopes is a little too durable. He's only been TKO'd twice, like we mentioned. It's been over 7 years. We haven't seen Volkanovski get. He did finish Yair, but Yair was kind of death gassing. I don't count the Chan Sung Jung finish because that was just terrible matchmaking. Um, I like Volkanovski a lot here. I like his money line at -150. Um, he's got more ways to win. I could see him going for the takedowns the longer the fight goes too. We've seen the wrestling from Volkanovski many times. I think he's going to be the superior striker the longer the fight goes. There's a small part of me that has to be worried about the chin. I mean, he's been knocked out in back-to-back fights, but with the loopy wildness of Lopes, I think that's only going to be a real factor in the first round. And if he doesn't clip him in the first round, then I think Volkanovski rolls the rest of this fight. So I'm high in Volkanovski. Sounds like you're on the Lopes side. But let's get into the official picks. But before we do, I wanted to go back to the Bryce Mitchell fight. And just I wanted to read a quote. And also I want to point out that Bryce Mitchell has been calling Gene Silva the devil. So if you are supporting Gene Silva as Reyes, as a red Ray, that means you support the devil. And also, Gene Silva's been barking a lot at Bryce Mitchell. And Bryce Mitchell's quote today was, "I put a lot of dogs down in my day. Those dogs that like to come to my farm, they kill my animals, they come to harm me and my family, and they come barking. You know what they all got in common? They all squeal right before they die," just like Gene Silva's going to do in just a couple nights. But let's get into the official picks. So we switched it up just slightly from what we've done the first 2 weeks. Let's start with the half unit plays. Ray and I are in agreement that if Lopes is going to win this fight, he's going to have to knock him out within the first couple rounds. So to play it safe, we went with Lopes by KO in under 2.5 rounds. A little same game parlay. They came to plus 525. We're going to do a half unit on that. You heard Red Ray and I very high on Julian Erosa over Darren Elkins. We don't think he's going to be able to finish him. We want a half unit on Erosa by decision at plus 180. Moving up to the 1 unit plays, we're going to give out a knockout exact finish at plus 120 in the Krylov versus Reyes fight. If Reyes is going to win this fight, he's going to have to knock out Krylov. And instead of just playing the Krylov knockout, we're just going to cover both sides here and go with an exact KO of plus 120. The next 1 unit play, we talked about Yan Xiaonan. We think she showed improved takedown defense. We do think this fight is going to go to decision, but we're going to take her plus 3.5. We just need her to win 1 round. So if she has at least 1 round where she's stuffing takedowns, landing strikes, I think she's more than capable of winning at least 1 round. We both picked her to win the fight. We're going to play it safe at plus 3.5 at -165. We move on to Marco Tulio. Knockout -125. We talked about Trayshawn Gore got knocked out by Cody Brundage. He doesn't like to get hit. We have a much more dynamic striker here in Marco Tulio, and we're going to take him at -125 to win by knockout. Go back to the first fight of the night. We were high on Nora Cornolle. We pointed out that she's going to be able to do more damage. She's a much superior striker. We're a little just small concerned about Haley Cowan's takedowns in the first round, but she's going to slow it down as the fight goes. She's built like Brock Lesnar. The muscles are going to fill up with blood. She's going to slow down, and Nora's going to improve as this fight goes on. Haley's never been finished by KO, so we like Nora to win by decision at plus 140. Moving on to our 2 unit plays, we're back on Juliana Rosa money line. Just in case he finds some sort of finish, in case the doctor stops the fight, we don't want to be only exposed to the decision. So we're just going to take his money line and we're going to tie that to Yair Rodriguez. We're both very high on Yair Rodriguez. We talked about Patricio's kind of a shell of himself at this point. He is definitely no longer in his prime. Yair working with Bilal Muhammad is going to have much better takedown defense, improved cardio, significant strike advantage on the feet, and we're going to tie his money line to Julian Erosa to get it down. to minus 103. Our second 2-unit play, we are backing Michel Oleksiejczuk. It's a tough name to pronounce, but you know who I'm talking about. He's fighting Cedric Dumas. We're taking his money line. He's now training with the Fighting Nerds. And we're very confident that he is a real fighter with real power in his hands, really improving his game. He's still 30 years old. Dumas is just too raw, not good anywhere, decent everywhere, but not great at anything. And we're confident that Michel Oleksiejczuk is going to get this done. We're going to have 2 units on his money line at minus 205. And finally, a 3-unit play on Nikita Krylov, money line minus 180. We talked about how good this guy is, how dynamic he is, how well-rounded he is. He can mix it up. He has way more paths to victory than Reyes. Reyes' chin is completely gone. He has looked slow. He looks out of shape. He's very emotional. He was nearly crying at the press conference. And Krylov looked confident. When you see the physiques on these guys, you're going to want to be on Nikita Krylov here. That is a 3-unit play for us. We're just going to take his money line, play it safe at minus 180. So we're sticking to our 12 units that we've done the past 2 weeks. We were down a little bit last week, but we're still up 1.9 units overall. And those are the official picks. Ray, any closing statements?
No, just hoping for some good fights this week, and we can cash some bets this week.
All right, let's go. That's our first pay-per-view in the books, UFC 314, Volkanovski versus Lopes. Look forward to recapping it and looking ahead in a couple weeks. I know the UFC's off next week. This is going to be a fun one. UFC Fight Night, Ian Machado Gary stepping up on a month's notice against Carlos Prates. It's going to be a good one. So we'll see you guys in a couple weeks, and good luck. Oh, also I want to point out, follow us on Twitter, Red and Blue Fight Pick Show at Twitter. After each fight, we recap our picks, talk about what went right, and sometimes what went wrong, unfortunately. So give us a follow at Red and Blue Fight Picks. All right.